up, though? And welcome to the Boss Up Ball Out Podcast, your home for organic debate about Detroit Lions news and rumors. It's your man, Curt. Today, we give our reactions to the complete 2025 draft class for the Detroit Lions. We are on our way to 3,000 subscribers, so please like the video and comment on the video and subscribe to the channel. We currently are at 2,812 subscribers, man, trying to get to that 3K mark. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And we also have channel memberships, man. It's another way to help us grow our channel. Now it's time to bring in my co-host, man, off a nice long draft weekend. First up, he had the great draft day Thursdays over there on his Instagram page, man. It's your auntie's favorite Detroit Lions content creator, LL Cool Toys. What's going on, my guy?
What's up, everybody? Good Monday morning.
Man, it's the hardest working man down there in Jackson, Michigan, coaching kids, cooking meals. It's the Wolverine. Who?
Coach Mike Jones. What's going on, Lion fans?
Hey, if you're new to the channel and you don't know how our show works, we look at Detroit Lions news, headlines, or takes. If we agree, give them a boss up with that big blade dance. If we disagree, we give them the balled on. Get out of here with that crap. We give our takes on why we agree or disagree. No hot takes here. Just our true thoughts and opinions about what's going on with our favorite team, the Detroit Lions. If you have an inkling that we're just not telling the truth, man, look at LL's face. If it's something that's just terrible, his face is gonna tell you 100%. We don't get no hot takes, man. We don't be doing the Stephen A over here. We don't be doing no Nick Wright, none of those cats over there. Joy Taylor, none of those cats, man. We keep it 100%, man, right here on our channel about what's going on with our favorite team. Okay, so now I gotta give a caveat to this, man. I saw a lot of Lions fans crashing out this weekend because the Lions didn't draft who they thought that they should draft, man. And guess who didn't give a damn about what they thought? Mm-hmm. Brad Holmes. every press conference I saw post-draft the night of the draft, man. Brad Holmes is like, I don't care. I don't care about that. Like, even the reporters, like, he was like, that's who y'all thought we should pick, not who we thought we should pick. Right. So I was like, Brad Holmes, he don't give a damn. He just don't. And this draft class for me, before we're gonna get into it right quick, is the quintessential draft class for Brad Holmes. He has his guys, and they got them marked out of who they wanted, and they're gonna use whatever assets they have to get the players that they want. So, right, yeah. So, but let's go ahead and get into the draft class, who they picked and where. We already did our assessment of Tyleik Williams. He was taken pick number 28. Of course, then we have Tate Rutledge, a guard out of Georgia. We had a guard picked out of Georgia in our mock draft, but this wasn't him. Then number 70, Isaac Tisla out of Arkansas. And then we had Miles Frazier, who was just sitting there. I don't know how he got it right there, but yeah, that's a definitely good pick right there. Then we had another guy we mocked, Ahmed Hassanin out of Boise State. Then we took Dan Jackson, hard hitting safety out of Georgia. Probably not the most athletic guy, but that dude can lay the wood. I've seen some meat. That dude, he a big hitter. And then we took Dominic Lovett out of the University of Georgia. Now, let's kind of get back into our mock drafts, right? So we had 3 mock drafts on this show that we did together. One of the in our first mock draft, we selected here's the graphic: Isaac Tisla out of Arkansas, 6'4", tracks and tacks the ball down the field, man. And this guy was a top 30 visit. He was a guy who was a top 30 visit. And of course, the guy we took in the first round, Tyleik Williams, was a top 30 visit. So, two of the guys that they kind of brought in, and that's kind of a trend with them. Probably about 2 or 3 guys each draft with top 30 visits the Lions are picking, if they're available. And then let's look at we took Hassanin in 2 mock drafts. The first one we took in round 4 at pick 130. And then the next mock draft, we took him with the last pick and at 256. So you look at that, and I'm looking at this guy. I'm like, man, we done took this guy in 2 mock drafts.
3,
And
if you count mine.
yeah, oh yeah, you did take him in one of your drafts.
Yeah.
And he fits the bill. He doesn't have that big height, so he's 6'2". He's probably a little shorter, but look at that weight. He around 270, man. You look at his build, he's a big dude, man. First Egyptian player ever drafted by the NFL. Really play a lot of sports. I think played polo and jiu-jitsu and all kind of stuff over there in Egypt before he decided to
CrossFit champion or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, he's done a lot of stuff, man. I'm like, yeah, no, go on, man. This dude's a lot of things, man. But you look at the draft class in its totality, man. I think they addressed some needs that they needed to do. And each one of our mock drafts, we in the first round, we didn't pick an edge player. We all picked a defensive tackle. That's what the Lions picked, a defensive tackle. We all in our mock drafts, we picked about 2 offensive guards. Guess what the Lions did? Drafted 2 guards. We picked a wide receiver or 2. Lions drafted 2 wide receivers. We picked a safety. They took a safety. So as far as position wise, I think that we looked at this draft, and the edge that we picked, one of the edges that we picked, wasn't one of the guys that the Lions chose, because of the fact that we were looking at what the fit was for the Lions. And that guy fits what the Lions are about. You look at his size, you look at what he does, and who he is. I mean, this dude, I like the video I saw of him at the combine. The dude's trying to pump him up, and he's already pumped up. He's trying to pump up the guy who's pumping him up to do the drill at the combine. I'm like, look at this dude, man. He like, let's go. He's the dude told Dan Campbell he would die on the field for him. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm looking at this guy.
He did say that.
He said, I'm like, what? This dude
is what he said, boy.
Now, for me, am I overly overjoyed about the draft class? Do I like the draft class? Absolutely. It's one of those things where I'm like, I'm just looking at it like I'm looking at the positions of need that the Lions address. And one of the things that was kind of ironic, they had the shirts on that said height, weight, and speed HWS, and they had it crossed out. So basically, they were saying that the tape tells you more than what the height, weight, and speed of a player says. But the Lions arguably had one of the most athletic draft classes. You look at the draft score of these dudes, man. They had one of the most athletic draft classes this year. So I'm not here to grade the draft. I'm just here to look at it and kind of recap and give my reaction to it. I think grading the draft class right after it happens is ridiculous. These guys haven't played a single down in the NFL. So how do you grade someone on a draft that they haven't played in the league yet? But I think they addressed everything they needed to have. And I think they're not done adding free agents. If you look at now, they're at 90 guys already. I think they're at 91, and then because they have a couple guys coming in, like they have the and I think they're allowed 91 right now because they have the international player coming in for the tryout. So I think it's our Australian guy. He's a rugby dude or something like that. So you look at this draft class, man. I think it addressed every need, and it's still going to be hard for some of these guys to make the roster. Someone said in the on X, he said it's going to be a bloodbath at training camp because it's going to be that everyone's trying to crabs in a barrel. Everybody trying to get to the top, and I'm looking at it, man. It's going to be tough for some of these guys to make the roster, and it's going to be something tough for some of the guys that we already have on the roster to stay on the roster. So, what do you think about the draft class, LL? I'm gonna hit to you first, man. Like, what are your initial thoughts just on the draft class as a whole?
Pretty much what you said. We drafted. We got what we needed, or some players that we needed. We got depth at positions and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys, if any of you listened to Brad Holmes' press conference, but he spoke about Ratledge and what's the other guard? I can't.
Miles Frazier.
And Frazier. They're going to cross train them at center. as well. So, as we were looking, some guys that could probably play both guard and center, it looks like they were doing the same thing. So I think that's probably the most important thing to me, is that they're actually going to CrossFit some of these guys at cross train some of these guys at center. Cause I think that's, like I keep saying, big Frank Ragnar was getting long in football years, maybe he getting long in the tooth, but he just, his body is taking hits and hits and hits, and he's a tough guy. But we can't expect that to last forever. But we got a little bit more insurance on that. But not only for that, but just depth at offensive line. We had we took some hits in some of those areas. Maybe we are looking to replace some of those guys, like Awasika and whoever. I know we got another guard that we play, but
Doris
you know,
Daw.
yeah, it's they're already talking bad about him. They talking bad about him as bad about him as some people talking bad about Project Martin. So it's not looking so good, at least from the fans. But just overall on the draft, I liked it. I thought it was a pretty good draft. Um, Position wise, I feel like we did pretty good. I know we were saying that previous looks at the draft that some of these guys in the back half probably won't make the team. That's what I'm more so interested in. I want to look at some of that. I think that some of those guys will. I think it's room for all of these draft picks in one way or another, rather they just make it outright or practice squad or something like that. So we gonna see.
Yeah, they're gonna make it hard. These guys that we drafted, they're gonna make it hard for some of the guys that's on the roster
Yeah.
to stay there. Corby Sorsdal's one, definitely. Broderick Martin's another guy that they're gonna have some tough times making the roster. I think guys like Yodi, I think Yodi will be safe because he's still there, but Yodi he's played pretty well. As long as you play him he played better at left guard than he did right guard. Put him in at right guard. He had to struggle for a little bit, but yeah. But overall, man, I agree with you. Positional value for this draft, man. These guys, they did with. I think he did well with uh positional rankings in this draft, man. But
Yeah.
Coach Jones, what you think about the draft class as a total?
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. There were a few surprises. Obviously Tyreek Williams was a surprise. Not to spend my racks though on Woolworth Sports because obviously he's the Swami. But
Don't say
but
that.
but you know what? I was the most shocked by the T Slaw trade just because of what we gave up. We not only swapped those picks from 102 to 70, but we also gave up both third round picks for next draft, 2026.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
We're
we
gonna go.
gave
We'll,
up.
we'll go over that in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I was like, wow, really? He's obviously gonna be in the mix.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's definitely. You don't do that for a guy who's not gonna be in the mix. And you know what? Honestly, I'm with LL. I think all these guys are in line to make the team. Maybe except for the last receiver that we drafted in the seventh round. Um, well, maybe he'll make the practice squad, but I think all these guys are going to make the roster because they all fill positions in need and they fill voids. And Brad Holmes is always about getting younger. Um, he's about getting younger, get more talented, and that's the guys that he has. He has mature um playing guys who fill voids that we need, and I just think that this was a good draft class, man. I don't like my little I would give a B to this draft
Mm-hmm.
class. You know what I'm saying? Just from the outside looking in, I'd be like, this is a pretty good draft class. Maybe I would have drafted an edge rusher, maybe a little higher, but that's just me. That's just we need an edge rusher. I'm kind of part of that mass hysteria, but you know what? At the end of the day, you can who can argue with a guy who's drafted the Lions to the 15-2? Come on, man. Like you're an idiot if you if you still questioning Brad Holmes, man. Like back to back divisions. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well,
come on,
call me an
man.
idiot.
Like, man, like you. I mean, how can you really question a man who has brought the Detroit Lions their first number one seed, back-to-back division titles. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the Pro Bowl. Like, if you look at the Pro Bowl, how many Pro Bowlers has he drafted?
All
You know
pro
what
too.
I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you think like too, he has a whole completely new roster. There's literally two people left over from the old Lions. That's Frank Ragnow and Taylor Decker. Everybody else is new. It's a completely different team. So yeah, you can't really if you I mean, I'm sorry, LL, but if you like still questioning what Brad Holmes doing, you need to smoke something else because
Nah,
you know,
I'm.
because
I, it's okay to have an opinion. I don't want to get it twisted and say people can't have an opinion. I get that people
oh
gonna have
yeah,
an
definitely.
opinion. Yeah. But for me, I look at the way that he's constructed this roster, and even with the edge rushers, I said this the other day. This draft class was deep with 3-4 outside linebacker type of edge players. The Lions play a 4-3, and I don't see them switching schemes anytime soon. So those guys that everyone's like, hey, let's get this guy. I'm like, the guy doesn't fit the system.
mm-hmm.
And Brad Holmes he said it himself. Like, even when he said it to the reporters, he's like, he said the edge rusher was a priority for y'all. It wasn't a priority for us. We looked at this draft class and we looked at like we got in the building, and he said there's other avenues, and we're going to talk about this in a second when we get to talk about these undrafted free agents, man. But hey, man, like the video, share the video, and comment on the video. All these things help us get this content to more Detroit Lions fans, just like yourself, man. And you know the Detroit Lion, the Boss Up Baller podcast is brought to you by what? Dubby Energy Drink, man. Go check that thing out. The link's in the description below, man. You can put out Boss Up Ball Out 10 and the code at checkout, man, to get 10% off your order. Y'all know what we talk about W all the time, man. So just take on your day with Dubby. Go check that thing out in the description of this video, man. Got the link right there. All right, so let's look at some of the trades that the Lions did for this draft, right? So the Lions acquired pick number 57 and 230 from the Broncos. They gave up 60 and 130. So you look at that, right? So who did they get with that trade? They got Tate Ratledge, and that was the guard. That we picked another guy. We picked Dylan Fairchild, but Tate Ratledge, the AKA what's the haircut he got?
Sweet mullet.
The mullet, aka the mullet. Call him a dirtbag type player. So they say he's gonna fit in right in this offensive line. He's a nasty physical player, man. So I like that.
One thing I want to add as to why a part of the reason why Dylan Fairchild was the pick is because Ratledge was not there in most of those drafts. So
he was not. He kind of slid a little bit. So I can get that why they went up 3 spots to get him, because of the fact that you look at it. It may be a team that was probably targeting him and was like, hey, this the guy that he's right there. So let's go grab him. So
and that's he was probably the number one right guard on the Lions board too.
Yeah, probably so. And then the next one, this is the questionable one. The Lions traded picks 70 and 182 and a 6th round pick to the Jacksonville. That's what they acquired. Pick number 70, pick number 182, and a 6th round pick in 2026 for the pick 102, and then in the 3rd round, and then 2 3rd rounds in 2026, and they got Isaac Tisla out of Arkansas. Now, this was considered a potential reach. However, there was the draft chart actually said for what we gave up and for what the Jaguars gave up, as far as the points are concerned, as far you know how that point system, it was pretty close. It was like 67 to 72 was the point, so about a 5-point difference. So it was pretty much a wash for what they gave up for Isaac Tisla. You look at it as far as like, because of the where the picks are in the 3rd round for the Detroit Lions, they are projecting those picks to be late 3rd round picks, right around that 4th, the end of the 3rd, top of the 4th type of, considered actually really 4th round picks. So that's why they got the trade value as it was. And then the last one we look at, man, the Lions got picked 171, and the Patriots, Lions got picked 171. The Patriots got 182 and 228, and the Lions selected Miles Frazier. And this is considered a top value pick in the draft because that guy was definitely projected to be a higher draft pick than that. He slid down the draft board for some reason, and it may have just been like one of those things where other positions the teams needed to fill. But for me, I think that was the best trade for the Lions in this draft class was Miles Frazier, because that guy is an absolute monster, man. Didn't give up a sack in pass coverage. Like, this dude is an absolute beast. So look at the trades, man. Give me your favorite trade. Mine is the Miles Frazier trade. What you got, LL?
I don't know that I have one, but especially hearing that we traded 2 3s next year. But
that's not for him. That's for T-Slot. I'm talking about for the trades that we made. That was that. Frazier was I think that he was the biggest value. I think he was considered the top pick. So
I'm just talking about all the. Well, I don't know. I don't know what my favorite one. I don't know. Maybe the first one, because we didn't see it coming and I was shocked and all that other stuff. I'm gonna go with the first
for
one.
Ratledge. Okay,
yeah, for Ratledge.
Dave Ratledge. Okay, what you got, Coach?
I gotta agree with LL. Ratledge was the best trade. Because in 2 we only moved up 3 spots, so it wasn't that expensive. But I think Ratledge is the best trade because I think he's gonna be a day 1 starter. So
okay,
I think he Glasgow. You're gonna be the first interior backup coming off the bench for all 3 of those spots. We got one guy who can, you know what I'm saying, Glasgow. You're it. Tag you it.
Yeah,
like, that's how it is.
I think those 2 picks of those guards made Hank Fraley very, very happy in his draft, man. I think he definitely got some guys to work with, and like you said, LL, Brad Holmes was talking about cross training those 2 guys to play the backup center role. So
and those 2 guards, they actually trained together.
Yeah, they did. They did.
I seen that. I seen
that. They trained together, so they kind of are. They spidey senses was tingling. They was like, "Well, I think we're gonna go to the Lions."
And then the Lions drafted 3 Georgia Bulldogs this year. They kind of flipped the script from the Bama boys this year. They didn't draft a Bama guy, but they took 3 guys from Georgia.
That old Georgia.
Yeah, they took Ratledge, the guard, and then they took the receiver, which was the last pick, and then they took that safety. Big old Dano Smith, man, coming in like a heat-seeking missile. Watch some of his highlights, man. Didn't watch game tape because I didn't have damn time this weekend. But looking at some of them, that dude, he be out there laying the wood, man. And hey, he definitely one of those guys that could definitely be a sneaky guy to make the roster, man. Definitely. All right, hey man, like the video, share the video, and comment on the video. Now let's take a look at the Lions undrafted free agent class, because of course we drafted the guys and then the UDFAs came in quick. I mean, they were right after the draft, they started signing guys, and that's usually how it happens.
They start doing that quick now, quicker every year. More and more teams start like, all right, we got them. Yeah, because some teams, I think the Lions had like 6-7 guys like on Saturday, and they only filled the rest of those slots up yesterday. So all right, so let's look at the first set of guys, man. Wrong one. All right, so here we go. We got the running back out of Ohio, Anthony Tyus. Running back, another running back, Kai Robichaud out of Boston College. We got a couple of tight ends out of Ole Miss and Indiana. And here is the big play that the Lions made. Wide receiver, Jackson Meeks out of Syracuse. Who is this guy? He's Zadarius Smith's nephew. That's a power move by the Lions, man. And here's the biggest power move, right? So I got to tell you this because he was the highest paid guy that we signed in the UDFA class.
He got $200K guaranteed off the rip. That's a power move by the Lions. It's like, okay, we got you, dog. Come on back. We got your nephew on the roster. You know what I'm saying? We'd already called up Cash Doll and put her on the payroll. So yeah. That was a power move by the Lions to sign Jackson Meeks, man, and have him on the roster. You don't think that was a move by the Lions to try to get Big Z back? You tripping.
Right. Yeah.
That was a power move.
I hope it worked.
That was definitely a power move, definitely by the Detroit Lions, man. And then, of course, we have the rest of the guys, man. We got another wide receiver out of UMass. We definitely got another couple offensive linemen. North Dakota State, that's always a big program for offensive linemen, man. And that's just a FCS. You know, they're a juggernaut in the FCS, man. Those guys are always winning the national championship in the FCS. Another guy who's considered to be a dirtbag, and I think you posted this in the chat, Leaf Fautanu out of Arizona State. Got another edge rusher out of Houston, Keith Cooper. You know what I'm saying? That's an O's, man. Man, he smoked. He came out of the room smoking what's those menthol? That's the 100s. Newports. 100s. That's an old school name. Keith Cooper that's an old school ass name right there. And then you got Gavin Holmes, the cornerback. I've watched some of his tape. That guy, that dude, he a beast right there, man. And then of course, man, we stay home with this last one, man. Ian Kennedy out of Grand Valley State. You know what I'm saying? The hometown product, man. So this UDFA class, man, I think it's just like the class that the end of that draft class is going to be hard for some of these guys just to make the roster. But, you know, you can give one or two guys probably go hit that practice squad. So what do you guys think about the UDFA class?
Yeah. Well, we all know that Mr. Meeks is going to make the roster.
At $200K, he at least going to be on the practice squad.
Also, I think the Mason Miller might find himself on the 53-man roster at some point in time during the season, man. Because North Dakota State, they know what they O-line coach got to get a raise because that dude be putting out some talent. You know, I don't really know much about any of the other guys. Maybe Zach Horton can come in and compete for a spot, man, the tight end. But, you know, man, these are all wait and sees, man. So I'm interested in the international player.
Yeah.
The
international
Lucky Tassi. I don't sound like Laffy Taffy. His name Lucky Tassi or something like that, man. But
I tell you, his name is Lucky Tassi, Australia international pathways player. And we have another one, quarterback Cole Snyder out of EMU. Those guys are rookie minicap tryouts.
So yeah, man. But all in all, man, look, man, I'm done questioning the reasoning for getting players. And Brad, I trust. Gonna get it, man. I don't know what you shaking your head for, LL. What more does the man have to do besides win a Super Bowl? I mean, that's the only thing left off his resume because before we was having no Pro Bowl players, and they got Pro Bowl players. They was like, we ain't won no division titles. We won a division title. Man, we got to get the number one. We got the number one seed. Like we got Super Bowl. It's the only thing that's missing off that resume.
I think the more impressive thing is that how many AP All-Pro guys he's drafted. I think that's more impressive for me. For you look at and I think Brian Branch got kind of shaded last year. We made the Pro Bowl. I think he should have been a second team All-Pro. You look at Kirby first team All-Pro, Penei Sewell first team All-Pro, Amon-Ra St. Brown first team All-Pro. You got a guy last year, Sam Laporta, second team All-Pro as a rookie. So you look at these All-Pros, man. I like I like how Brad Holmes has constructed this roster, and I think a lot of Lions fans have PTSD, and I think that because of the fact that they, not used to having a good team. So they kind of look at anything the Lions don't do as a slight that they want to do. But you look at, and I think a lot of Lions fans can confuse the roster that we had on defense at the end of the season between the Lions that the roster we had at the beginning of the season, and a lot of those guys will be coming back. And it was more than just Aiden Hutchinson and Davenport as the injured edge rushers. We had a lot of edge rushers to get injured last year, or guys that played the hybrid, like a guy like Makai Wingo, who can play edge and he can slide in and play D tackle, because you look at the size and what he did, you uses his leverage. So you look at these guys, man. The only players that right now that are not projected to be back at the start of training camp is Malcolm Rodriguez and Aline McNeil. Everyone else is scheduled to be back for training camp. I won't say they'll be back for the OTAs, but that they're slated to be back when the Lions start training camp at the end of July. And something we're gonna talk about here. The next show is what I want to talk about is the Lions getting the Hall of Fame game, and what's that going to do for the Lions offseason program? That's a big step for the Lions offseason program. Yeah. You look at it and you're like, but what does it do? It adds an extra preseason game. The Lions don't have 3; they have 4. So that gives some of these younger guys and what the effects is going to be to let them make those guys get extra time to make the roster. But hey, man, like the video, share the video, and comment on the video, man. All you things get this content to more Detroit Lions fans just like yourself. I forget you. What do you think about these UDFAs, LL? Because I don't think you got your opinion on the UDFAs.
I think they're pretty solid. I like Fautanu, if I'm saying that right, and Keith Cooper. I looked a little bit at those guys. Keith Cooper is a big one. I think he like 6'5" or 6'6". Maybe like say he real tall and real big, like 280, 290. Like he's a big dude. So, something like that. Again, I don't really know if he going, just saying I like that about him. And then Fautano, he's actually a center. So I don't know how many centers, like just pure old centers we have on the roster. I know we got some guys that we're going to cross train as centers, but he is a pure center. So, could be something to look at there. But just some guys that come on in. If that's what it takes to get Big Z back at signing his nephew, then throw him 200 and come on back, Big Z. I don't really care about that. I don't know if that's gonna work, but I don't really care either.
I just look at that signing. Of course, I'm being facetious and just, but I look at this, and I think I've said this before, and I know I've said this before. I look at this draft, and I'm like, I don't see a 4-3 defensive end that the Lions are just going to go and jump for. I just didn't see it, because a lot of the 4-3 defensive ends were guys that were projects. You even look at Shamar Stewart, right? They went out of Texas A&M. He didn't have a lot of production as a 4-3 defensive end, right? So I'm looking at the dude like, would it take him? I don't know if they would have. They weren't going to go up and take him like some of the team where he got drafted. He got drafted pretty high. So I'm like, I just thought that the Lions were kind of like, we're going to kind of play this out how we do it. But I think that I think they're looking at bringing back either a veteran defensive end or looking at bringing back a Big Z. He's kind of set roots down in Detroit. He's still wearing his Lions gear around the town. You know what I'm saying?
And wearing cash out around the town too.
And she wearing his chain. She doing all that.
Yeah. So and you saw him in the jewelry store. She talking about, hey, tell him to come on back. Yeah, I tell him to come on back. And he's like, he gonna pay my salary. Shit, she probably could. But anyway, looking at this, man. And the Dolphins just re-signed a defensive end around about $5 million. That's about $5-6 million. That's about a reasonable contract for a guy like Big Z. Because the money after the draft, you already know if you ain't signed a big contract by now, you ain't finna sign a big contract. Anyway, you look at his age, how long he's been in the league. He still has plenty left in the tank. But I'm interested to see what kind of deal But I believe 100% that he's going to be back in Detroit this year, even if it's only on a 1-year deal.
Yes, sir. I believe it too, man.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, he didn't set down roots, man. He got his boo, walking around holding hands in the jewelry store and all around Detroit and taking trips to Africa and everything like that. He ain't trying to leave Detroit. Anyways, man, like the video, share the video, comment on the video. Always just help to get this content to more Detroit Lions fans like yourself. If you haven't done so already, follow the crew on your favorite social media platforms, man. Coach Jones, man, thank you. You put some outstanding shorts on the channel this weekend, man. Got one that's doing real good right now, man. Make sure you follow him on his social media platforms and go check out Wolverine Sports Talk. I post content from this show on my social media platforms. And LL, man, had a wonderful draft edition of Thirsty Thursdays, man. So go check him out, man. And I know it's finna get warm, so go check out his fishing videos and his rolling videos over there on my high media, man. All right, time for final thoughts for today's show. Thank you for starting your work week out. The last week of April is here, man. This year's flying by. Man, I think at the end of this week, we're already in month 5 of the year, man, already. But, all right, so Coach Jones, man, give your parting shots to the people out there.
Yeah, man. Happy Monday morning. I just want to say this. This is an old school 90s term. Y'all Mickey Fickies need to chill out, okay?
Oh, wow.
And just let Brad work. Let these players work. They only got one obstacle left. That's to get that Lombardi. So stay tuned because we coming.
Yeah, he went full Keith Cooper. Said Mickey Flicks.
Yeah, that's some house party one when it came on TV.
That's Keith Cooper is an old school name, man. Hey, hanging with Mr. Cooper. Hey, what you got, LL, for the people on this fabulous Monday?
Happy Monday. The draft is over and all of that good stuff. Thank God. But feel however you want to feel. You can feel all types of stuff. I never say that I hate Brad Holmes or anything like that. I feel like I talk worse about plenty other people on the Lions team besides Brad Holmes. But I do trust Brad Holmes, just not to the extent of some other people. But I tell you what, I don't trust people who wear beards with no mustache.
Hey, when I'm trying to grow it back a little thicker, sometimes I gotta cut it off.
You got it, Federal Officer Jones.
Hey, man, for me, man, like I said, I'm glad draft season is over, man. Now it's time to get to the good part, man. And you're gonna look around. The Lions are already in the offseason workout. OTAs will be right around the corner, man. And the Lions are gonna start the season off early than anybody else in preseason because they got the Hall of Fame game versus the LA Chargers. So that's gonna be good to go check that out. So it goes to show you that the Lions have moved into that must-see TV. They're getting all these primetime games, and now they're getting the prime time standalone preseason game. And they're moving the Lions kickoff for Thanksgiving back to 1:00. So you look at all those things.
I like that.
Lions are becoming must-see TV, man, and let's enjoy it as Lions fans. All the people you crashing out, man, you crashing out for the wrong reasons, man. I don't get it. Don't get it, man. Yeah, you crashing out for the wrong reasons, man. But hey, if you're having a good day at work, man, please spread that joy on this Monday, because sometimes joy could be hard to spread on Monday because you never know when a kind word can help someone's day and make them have a better outlook on life, man. If you're not having a good day, don't sit on one else's joy. And whatever you're doing in life, you got to boss up, ball out, and be the best version of you that you can be. For my fellas, LL Cool Torrance and Coach Mike Jones, this is Curt Steele, and we will holla at you real soon.